Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing JavaScript. So just organized my file. You go to our BB Learn week 5. You will find this resource book. So just open it and put it aside. The chapter we're using here is chapter 13 and it covers JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? Why we need JavaScript? JavaScript is a scripting, you can say programming language that used for the web. So you can create programs inside an HTML page and the program can interact with all the components you have on your page. If you have a form or you have some objects, images, animations, divisions, sections, whatever it is, you can interact with it and change the content dynamic, and you do some calculations and some interesting stuff. So it helps the web become more interactive instead of being static and doesn't do that much animation. HTML5 now has animation as well, but the JavaScript can go further by going into high level programming things. At the end of this 3 weeks, I hope we will do a game as well. You will see we're doing a snake game, going around and eating something and growing, and then if it hit the wall, it will die and things like that. So you will learn that one. We will do a number of applications to calculate, for example, attacks or convert mark to grade or do certain calculations. Maybe we'll get in touch with some of those objects and we'll create, for example, access to a map using GUS. So that's introduction on the JavaScript. You can read this one, and now we'll start looking at some examples. So here is an example of a JavaScript. Basically, you have HTML page, and within the HTML page, you have your text. Let's copy this one and take it to our editor, and we'll paste it there. I'll just open a folder. I created an empty folder where I'll put all my documents there. Open it, it's empty. Now I create a new file and just paste that code. Then we'll go through it. Save it as, for sure, has to be .html, something .html, but usually we go for index because index is the default for the web server. Index default, they all be loaded first. So we'll save it there, and now we're getting into into the code. So basically this code, what it does, we'll just add the doc type just to make it fit our HTML5 standard, and then we have a head there, we have a body, and basically this one, if you look at it, you have a part here saying script and close script. This is where you add your JavaScript code between these two tags. In HTML5, you don't need to say the text type and other things. They are optional. But if you say just script, you open a tag, you close the tag by script, and between you add your content. There is another part here for no script. If the browser is not able to run JavaScript, then you get a message to the user saying your browser does not support JavaScript. So if we just, this is a very basic one. If we run it, what we will get, just a message, hello world. Where that hello world coming from is coming from that statement, document.write hello world. If you want to display anything with the screen, use document.write. Document refers to the HTML document, the one you are now working with, your HTML document, in this case our index.html, and write is a method or a function that you use to display things on the screen. Now, these two quotations where you have the hello world, you can put inside many things. You can use the normal HTML tags. So you can put, for example, head 1, head 2, and stuff like that. Let's create a section here and put this section in a more dynamic way. Let's see how we do it. So we need to create a section, and we're going to use JavaScript document.write to create the section. So I just pasted now a line there, and this line I can put a tag in it, and I can call it section. So that's the section which that's the beginning of the tag. We know this, we have been doing it for many times. Then I can close the section down here by adding another document.write and closing that section. Yeah. So see now, JavaScript is allowing us to create HTML tags on the run. While we're running our code, it goes and creates it. So now it will create a section, it will create HTML. The good thing, anything you create using document.write, any tag, you will not see any big difference now if we run this one. Okay, look at it, it's still the same because nothing. But now we can start using style sheet or CSS, so we can format that one. You will start noticing that you have a section. So I'll put style here. That's the beginning of the tag. Close it by by another style, and inside I'll go now and do the CSS. So the section which we're going to change, so I'll call it section. Let's add to that section a border, so it becomes clear that it's a border. So 2 pixels solid, and if you now run refresh, you will see the border is there. Now we can also change the alignment of the text and make it center, so that hello world whatever will come in the center, and you see now it is in the center. And this is something we have been doing for the last 3 weeks, and you know it very well. So I'm just doing padding to get some space between the text and the border, and to put a color, we'll put yellow. Yeah, yellow is good. So yellow color, and then it's there. Okay, so basically this one is creating those HTML section and those different tags and putting it on the fly. Okay, you noticed here we're not using semicolon at the end of the statement. I think we have a small problem here. Our header should close after the style sheet, and just fixing that one just to make sure we have the right thing. Now, if we want to do something and get those function and create a function with all those list of command, and every time we call the function, it will create the section. So I can declare the function, I give it a name, and then now I'm copying this and putting it inside. You notice the section have open and close bracket. There are no parameters I'm passing here. Let's now call that function. I can call it, if we run here, nothing coming, but I think because I have an error here, I should say JavaScript. I should have script here because I'm doing something in the head, so I'm moving my script to the head. So I have to open and close the script here. Very good. That's now fine. If I run it, should be nothing on the page because what? We did not call the function. We created the function in the head, but we did not call it. Now what we're going to do will be calling that function, and we'll be moving here, and how to call it, just the name of that function. as soon as you start typing, it will come there, but you need open, close bracket, and semicolon. The semicolon is optional. I'll talk about it more. Now it's working there. Assume I want to create another section. I just basically call the same function, and then it will have a second one. See that how easy it is to reuse that function. You already have the function, you just call it. You create it once and use it multiple times forever. You notice this semicolon again, which I would like to talk about it. And in JavaScript, they are optional, as I said. If you are doing you're doing it on the same, there is one statement on one line. That's optional. You can have it, you don't have it. Good practice to have it for me, at least. But if you have two on the same line, assume we're going to now do that. Let me just show you how it works. Then the semicolon is must between the two, which you will see now. Let me copy this one up there and delete semicolon XP. Now it will have an error. Why? Because I have two statements on the same line. Then if I put a semicolon after the first one and run it, it will work fine. So if you have two statements on the same line, you need to separate them using semicolon. There. So that's the concept of the semicolon. Now this function, as you know, we have multiple type of function, but we'll talk about them. Depends on, do they receive parameter, do not receive parameters, and stuff like that. What we also can do, we can take this function which we created now and put it in a separate file. So later we just can link this file and do whatever we want to do with that function, and then that will help us grow our library. And an advice for you: create your own library. So create one file, call it maybe with your name, or call it with whatever that library is, and then start adding your function in it. So in the futures, when you graduate, or when you're doing graduation project or final project, you can link that file and use those functions you already created. So you don't go again and create something from scratch. And that's what developers and programmers do when they work on programming subjects or projects. They use their own library. They grow their library and then reuse it again and again and again. And that's an important concept that you need to keep in your mind, building those libraries and making each library specific for certain purpose. In JavaScript, there are so many libraries around. You heard about jQuery. jQuery is a JavaScript, but it's a library of function and data information that people use it to create mobile application or interactive web pages. And we will be using some of jQuery. You also heard about Ajax, and Ajax is another library that we can use. So let's go here and see if we didn't miss anything. We have done the part of there. Now we want to, as we said, we want to link the file to external document. Now again, in the document, if you read here, you will find there are some issues about compatibility and standards with some browsers, like Internet Explorer, the old version. The new one now is fine, but the previous version used to have some problems. And Microsoft also, they created their own version of JavaScript, which also you need to be careful with. Now let's talk about comments now. If you need to add your own comments to your code, and comments is a very important practice that you need to use. Sorry. Comment will help you get your code clear. You add information to the reader who reading the code for yourself as well if you come later. So if you have a paragraph you wanted to add, as you know, in Java, you have done that. In Java, you have done it in, I think, C# and other places. You use those two backslash, forward slash, and star and forward slash, and this way you can add a list of text, multiple lines. But if you have a comment you need to add in the same line, then you have to slash, and then you draw it, you put it on the same line. For example, here we can say this function or this line draw a section. So the forward slash and star and closing by star and forward for a bulk of text, a paragraph, but forward slash are for adding a code on the same line. It's a good practice. Please make sure you added your comments on our grading standards of assignment, of student assignment. There is a part for writing the comment, because comments is important practice to help people understand how to use it professionally, and help people understand the code and review it in the future. Now, here is the section that you can use to link your external file. So now we're going to put that function in external file. First, we need to add this link on our head of the page. So where is that page? This is the head. You can add it here, for example. Here you need to put just the new file name. Let's call our CIA2503. Yes, so that's a file we'll create, and the syntax is, as you can see, similar to linking a style sheet, but you don't have the relations, or you don't have href instead of href. You're using source. So that's something you need to remember, and memory, using memory effectively is important in people's life. There's few things that you need to remember in your life. One of it is how you include external JavaScript file. So let's do that. I just copied the name because I want to make sure that I'm using exactly the same name. And now we'll go and create a new file. Sorry. We are in the new file. Now we'll save this file as, we'll use the same name which we did, although I did copy it, but I will just type it because it's not that big deal. So let's save it now. It has to end by .js, as you see, because that means it's a JavaScript. Now it's there. So let's go back to HTML, copy that function, and instead of having it here in the middle of the page, let's take it to the external library file that we'll be working with. And we put it there. Save it. And then we did save it. And then here, what we need to do is just nothing. We have all those functions there, which we will call it, and it will work. And it should work. We need to make sure that it does. So let's add a third one to make sure it's coming from our new one. So just refresh, it's there. That's how easy it is. Now let's think of improving that function. So we want the function is, instead of just displaying hello world, we want it to work in a way that I can send a text to it and it will display whatever text I'm going to send to it. So instead of hello world, you'll have something else in that document. So how we can do that? You know, as you did before in functions, I'm sure you have done in CIS 1403. You're doing it now with an object-oriented programming language. Function can receive parameters, and those parameters can also be returned back. Some values can be returned back. But let's add here that we're assuming we're receiving a header, yeah, something like a header. And let's add to that. We're not displaying, we display the header here, that's it. Let's save it now. That's what we have. Let's go back to the HTML, and now what we need to pass that value. So I'm putting add whatever I'm doing here, refresh. You'll see it came on the first line, did not come on the second two because I did not provide data. Let's do something better than just HGH, which I love a lot. Let's do something different here. So web application development, and then so now you can see it better, and refreshing the page you can see it came web application development, and it's clear on the page. Now the other two are nothing there. Now we can either remove them or basically add something else to that. Now that's one thing. Now assume I want this one to come like head level 1, so it becomes bold, big, head level 1. What I can do inside the right method or function, I can add the tag that I need. So the tag I need to use, I need a quotation and then put h1 and then close it. Now if you want to add two texts together in JavaScript, use plus. Plus is adding text to each other, and then I need to close that at the end, so I'll close the h1 there, and that's h1. So yeah, h1. Now this way, if you refresh this page, you will see coming web application development. It seems I did not save the HTML file when I made that change. Let me save it and come refresh. I should have only one because I deleted the other call for the function. Now that's one thing. So we received one parameter, or we passed one parameter to the function, and we use that parameter to do that. Let's add another function here, and we can do something else here. Our colleges of technology. Sorry, I'm getting some flu. Okay, so it's there. Now, what if you want to pass another parameters? So the function should receive two parameters, not only one. So what we can do, we can come back here and add the other parameter. So we can basically, what we usually do with, if we want to add a paragraph there in HTML, just do it that way. Now here it's not going to work because I'm in JavaScript. I need to use document.write to do that. So document.write, and let's assume we want to add a paragraph. Well, first we need to pass it, yeah? So I need to add it here so the function can accept that one. We're calling it P. Maybe it's confusing you, P and H, but I'll change it later to something very generic. Now let's call it A and B, yeah? So you don't think because it is H, it is a header one. It can be any parameter, yeah? But it will be used here. So A and B, A is the first parameter, B the second. The first one will be used for the head, the other one will be used for something else. And you can pass so many parameters as you know. We'll come back here. What we need to add, we need to pass the data. So now we're sending only the first parameter A. We need to send the parameter 2. So comma, and then put a quotation and add the text that you want to pass. You also can pass numbers if you want to do that. So you just say just JavaScript programming. And then we'll add here computer information science. That's our division. And if we save this and come there, then we should be able to, this is the first parameter, and that's which will come here, the second parameter. So these are the two parameters received by the function, and the function displayed it on the fly. It just came on the page. So you can see how you can receive multiple parameters. Let's add another function here if you want, and we can pass something else if we would like to do. Okay, let's go to our text and see if we missed anything in our topics. Maybe you noticed that this voice over I'm adding it after recording the session. When I recorded the session, I did not remember to turn the microphone on, so the audio is gone. So now I'm doing it while I'm watching what I have done before. It's again a good experience, a new experience for me. It's working fine. Now adding a new call to ask. I think I asked one of the students to do that. This is Hamad doing it now. I gave him mouse control. So from his computer, he is making a call to the function, and that's a good practice. So he created something here, is passing hello HCT, and then added some smiley face, and is saying I love my college. Great, Hamad, thank you. So this is Hamad doing it from his computer through Zoom. Zoom is interesting. Hamad is sitting in the same classroom, but he is enjoying using Zoom. I think the whole class enjoying it, I hope. Now save that, Hamad, and do a refresh to the page. So he's doing it. And you can see he added that one. Saif came with really good questions. He's asking me, can I pass, when I pass the data, can I also pass within the data some HTML tags? Yes, so let's give him a control and he will show us what he wants to do. So let's see what he will do now. I think Saif is coming now. That's Saif. Now he's coming here and he's doing something interesting. So he's calling the function. I like that he wants to make the line correct, and it's important to make your code readable and formatted properly. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. The mouse is not working for you. Well, yeah. Okay. Now, good. So Saif is doing it. So what he is trying to do, as he said, he wants to pass also some tags. So he added HCT class, okay, and then what? That's the first parameter, and the second one is adding 2503. Okay. Let's see what Saif wanted to do. Oh, he's adding here H1, passing H1. Okay. I think he's adding a diff. Remember, he added a diff, so he has added a division there. Now what he is doing also is closing, I think, the division here, and then he wanted to format. Oh, that's an interesting one. Let's see. So now if you save this and refresh, I hope we will get that. But maybe he wanted to add a style sheet for the diff somewhere, yeah? Let's see. So he's having full control of my computer, so he does whatever he wants to do. Let's see. Don't delete my files, Saif. Now he passed that diff as a tag. It should work fine. And the other thing, you should be able to, if you want, create a style sheet to control that diff. My apologies. So we went to the style section. Now he's adding maybe background or yeah. I think should be fine. Now if we refresh, you will see that diff we added became background green. So even when you pass the parameter server that you can send some tags within that. Okay, so seems working fine now. I think I need one of you of my student to add an input text field. So just text field where you can input some data in it. And we would like to add it to the function. So how we can do that? Who will help me with this? I think Saleh said yes, or who said yes? I can't remember who said yes, but if you want to do it, what you do, you need to add it in the function. So how usually you add input field or input box element to your HTML? We have been doing this now for some time, and the way you do it, you use the tag input, yeah, and then you pass the data type, which usually text if it is a text, or password if it is a password. Better to give it an ID, and and also you can give it a name, a placeholder, and that way the input text will come on the screen properly. If you want to add it, you can add it anywhere. Let's add it here. Just I want you to see that example. So let's see who is doing this. Again, do it as a normal HTML. Yes, it will not be working here, but once you do that, you understand the concept, then you can build the command.write around it, and it should be working properly. So it should come down here somewhere if you add it after the last line. Okay, so who is doing that? I can't remember who is doing that now because it's after recording, but I think it should be one of the 7 students we have. We can pass a parameter here as well. I don't think we need extra parameter now. We just because it will be within the form. If you want, you can. Okay, I don't think you need it. Okay, so just add the input box after the last line. Who is doing that? Here, okay, that's fine. So how you do it? So you say input. This is how you do it in HTML. Once you do it as HTML, you will be able to use JavaScript. Okay, so use single quotation here. Why? Because I think you're thinking of what's going to be there. Yeah. Okay. Good. You give it an ID. That's good. Usually anything you have double quotation for it, if you use it within a JavaScript function, you use single quotation instead of the double. You can continue use the double, but you need to use later single outside. Well, you'll see what we mean. Okay, this is fine. So that's how in HTML it will not be working there. So you'll have the quotation here, and I think yes, document.write open bracket, open bracket, close the other, yes, and at the end of the line just close that bracket. Okay, there's one more quotation here, yeah, you didn't need that. Okay, good. So this way it should be fine. That's perfect. So if you just save it and refresh, you will find that text field came on the page. You need just to remember that you save. There's auto save somewhere if you can. Now this is an input text field which you can use to enter some data. So you can create a form on the fly. That's important thing you need to do. Very good. Okay, that's good. We don't need that input field. Just wanted you to get to understand how to do that. And components are basic. We have been doing it for some time now, so it should not be something new for you. Okay, so we maybe need to go now back to to our text and do some reading. Okay, just want to make sure that you're covering everything, we do not miss anything. So there are some compatibility with some browsers which we discussed before. You can read it here. You can get some more information on that. Now we have done that part, and we have spoken about. We'll get into this end of file later when we come to the database. Let's leave it now. Now we'll go to the next section we have, which will be talking about comments. We have already spoken about comment, and I think we do understand the comments now. And single line or semicolon we have done, we discussed it, and we said if you have only one line, you don't need a semicolon. You have multiple statements on the same line, then you need a semicolon. And that's something we discussed. I think we're moving with good speed. Okay, so the next one we will go to, I think, should be the variables. Okay, variables. Now, similar to what you do with Java, or you have done in C# or other languages, except I think all languages, except one part of it which only specific to one language. Anyway, the variable name should be using characters from A to Z, or numbers 0 to 9. You cannot have a space, you cannot have special characters, you cannot use dash or minus, you can use underscore if you want. The $sign sometimes used in some cases, you will see when we call some of the variables using jQuery, we'll do that. For JavaScript, you do not need to declare it. You don't say, want to say this is integer, float. No, you can just use it without deciding what type of it is, and the type also will change according to the need. If, for example, you put a number as a quotation and later you multiply it with something, it becomes actual numbers. So you have seen we use some variables which we pass from one area to other area. We will be using more variables later in the exam. Now we'll talk about arrays, and I'm sure you enjoyed arrays in the past. Arrays is the same variable. You can use it to store many data, and it starts by index 0. Let's go and use the array. Let's create in the HTML. We can create our own one. We don't need to copy anything, maybe better. So let's go and create our own array. So in the index.html, I need to go there and declare an array and put some data. So let's go there. So here we can come any place in the script section. Maybe you don't need all these things there. You can remove them. You can keep them. It doesn't make difference. Let them stay. Let's declare an array here, and we'll call it. What did I call it in the past? Anything. You can call it any name, but again the name should have alphabetic and should not start by a number, and should have no space, should have no special characters in it, and you should not use minus, and instead of minus, if you need to use, you can use underscore, and you can have a combination of a number and so we'll add one, call it txt. So you need to open this big bracket, and within the big bracket now you put your data, and you separate the data with a comma. So the first one we said we'll call it program. I'm using just single quotation of instead of double and then program application development development sorry for that, and then comma h, and then another, and then you add those. I think we'll add 6 elements. Yeah, let me continue adding what I need to add. The special function with array, we'll get to it later. We're not going to cover all of it now, but we'll do it later. One of my students telling me that I missed something at the end. I did not close the quotation, and now I am going to close it. So he will tell me now. Yes, thank you. I like students who are always focusing and want things to be done right. You notice here I didn't close close this one. Without informing me, it could have been an error. It will come an error. Okay, so let's save it now. Now if you want to call this function, yeah, let's add a line here, and let's call the function and pass the array. We want to pass a certain element of the array. So you want to pass for the A element, an element, for the B an element. So you want to pass program for A and and higher colleges of technology for B. So how we do that? So let's remove this here. Now just passing that element, I should say txt, that's the array name, then which element? 0. 0 is the program. The array starts by 0. The first one index is 0. So it's not 1. So I'm sending now the first one and second one, program application development. That's what I'm passing now, and it comes there. Because I sent element 0 and element 1. Element 0 is program, element 1 is application development. And then you can continue. I'll ask my student to pass the rest of the things and give them some specific tasks. So let's delete this one. Give access to Saleh, and then Saleh will be doing that. Saleh requested, I think, access. Now he has access. When a student wanted access, he requested, and then I give him mouse control. I get a message on my screen, X faculty or student or someone requested to pass a parameter, then I just give him the access. Now Saleh is doing well, too fast, but I think he's passing only one parameter now. I'm sure he will go and add the other parameter, because Saleh is very good. Good. Now we need to do the same for the rest. Now I think I was in the class saying to him what he should pass, yeah, I think he passing on the last one, he just completed passing 3 and 4. 3 comes is 0, 1, 2, 3 higher colleges of technology. That's number 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's a 3. I don't think he has any 4. And okay. Yeah, good. The last one is wrong, but okay, we'll see. C came down undefined because there's no element 4. We have element until 3. We have 4 elements. That means you have from 0 to 3. Okay, so that's one. Now, the array can have also something more interesting. You can have array of array, an array inside an array. So what you can do, let's look at that. Then we will see how we can use it. Let's create an array inside array. So you create 1, 2, 3. This is the first array inside the main array. Then the second array, maybe 4, 5, 6 inside the, and the third array of any numbers. I'm just putting different numbers not to get you to think this should be a sequential numbers. It can be any data. It can be 100, 1, then 100, then 20, then 50, then whatever number. So now the first array is array index 0. And the second, if I want to look at number 2 here, 2 is 0 because it's the first array, and 1 because it's the first one, is the second one in the first array. So it is 0, 1, the number 2 there. Let's pass that one. So let's do that. So txt 0, why? Because it's in the first array, and 1 because in the second array. The way you do it here in JavaScript is you have those two brackets you open beside each others. The first one for the the row, and the other one for the column, if you want to look at it that way. Anyway, it is 0 because it's in the first array, and it is 1 because it's the second one in the first array. Now, if I want to pass 9, 9 is in the third array, so it's 2, and it is the second one, it's 1. So this way I'm passing 2 and 9. If you refresh and we go there, we will see 2 and 9 coming on the top there. See, the rest down came because we're passing the full array down here. So we passed array 2, array 3. We kept it as it is, so we passed the whole array. But we can use it to pass certain elements instead of the array. Muhammad just added passing array to the next, some elements to the function. So he did that and seems to be working. Thank you, Muhammad. Yeah, just saved it, refresh, it should work. Yes, yeah, it's working. So in the last one he did right adding, but the second one he passed only one parameter, so the second one came undefined, but these two are working with no problem there. Good. So let's now proceed and we go back to our book and look at what other things we need to discuss. Go to the next one. I think we have done all this. We spoke about the array and the matrix of the array, and that's it there. Then what we have, one thing we need to do now is if you want to pass the whole array, assume now we want to pass the whole array to the function, and let the function take a part of those elements. Let's do that. Let's pass only one. So I'm passing the whole array txt to the function. I'll go to the function now. Now the function will change it here and say receiving only A. So A will take the first element is 1, 1, and the second one is A again, and we'll take element whatever, 1 and 2. So this way inside the function we can take it. So we receive the whole array, and then inside the function we took it apart and we're displaying the elements that we would like to display. So again, you can pass the whole array as a parameter. So let's go here and refresh. You will see we're getting the same thing. The last one, because you have a code there which Safe added, which we don't need. I think this part, yeah. So this we don't need. Thank you, Safe. Now, if you go back and refresh, it should be fine, and you should only get 1. So this way we can pass the whole array. When you should pass the whole array, sometimes you want to do some process on the array. You need, for example, to sort the data inside the array. So you pass the whole array to the function. The function will do the processing of the data and return back to you a new array with different sequence or with the new data, or completely new array, which is different from the one you sent. So if you want to do something with the whole array elements, then you pass the whole array. Now here are the arithmetic operators. You should be familiar with this. You have used it in Java and C#. They are all the same as before, the plus, minus. You know, there is a sequence for which one goes first, and I think you know that from CIS 1403. I'm sure you've been through that. Now you can use plus equal to increment something. So if you put plus equal 1, it will increment by 1. If you put, say, 7, 8, whatever the number, it will increment by that number. And that's one way. One thing you need to remember with these variables, they are case sensitive. So uppercase, lowercase are different. So that's something I didn't remember to mention when I was talking about the variables. They are case sensitive as well. Okay. So if you want to compare for conversion, you're using equal to compare if things are equal, not equal. You know, that's the same thing. Something here maybe not familiar with it. The 3 equal. This will check if the data is equal, and also if the type is equal. They are all integer, they are all string. You make sure they are float, whatever. You make sure the type of the data is also equal. And again, the other one, not equal is the same thing. So those operators, you know them from the previous programming language. I think you're using them also now in the object-oriented programming language course you're doing with if you're doing the same course at the same time. And in PHP later we will be using some of it. The logical one, which add, for example, if you have condition and then and you use this and sign and then or same thing, the other sign which you're familiar with it and not you familiar. These are the way you compare more than one logic together. So you want to check if something equal and something or then you can do that. And again, it's new, not a new thing to you. You know them, but just good to go through them quickly. So make sure you are covering everything. Now, backspace is very useful, which the backspace, it helps you ignore some text. Let me assume I want to display here. Let me just delete this one and add symbol 1. I want to show you how you can use the backspace to ignore some special characters. Assume you have a text you want to display higher colleges of technology, and you wanted the higher college to come between two quotations. If you just do it like that, then it will not appear properly. Let's do this here. Higher HCT, we're passing those two parameters, higher colleges of technology. Now, if I want the higher college of technology to come between two quotations, if I add a quotation, it will treat it like a quotation, isn't it? I'll give you an example. I know you can use a single quotation there, but there's other way you can do. I want a quotation here and a quotation at the end. So what I can do, I can use those backspace, which basically tells the JavaScript the next character, you should just display it as it is. Ignore if it is something useful for a specific purpose. Just display it as it is. To added quotation, and just now we want to ignore the one of the quotations. Yeah. So the first one, now we want to ignore. We're supposed to be ignoring the second one. So the first one and the last one should stay because they're looking at the main quotations we have, and the second one and the third one should be ignored. Okay, so I think we're having some discussion in the class. I'm doing the same thing. I have to go and fix this one. So just ignore this one and also ignore the one before the last one, this one, yeah, and then remove that. So I'm ignoring those two in between, because I want them to disappear as they are. So these two, I'm ignoring them. So by using this backslash, the forward slash will mean different thing. Forward slash is now it's coming there. As you can see, there's a quotation, and that's it. So make sure you use the backslash, not the forward slash. The forward slash is for dividing numbers. For other things, it will not work at all. Or if it is within a text or string, it will be displayed as it is. So you need that. So okay, so that's something we have done. Okay, so now we'll talk about variables more. You can, I think, go through this document. You know those special. Now the variables thing you need to remember the type of variables. There are, as you know, integer, float, and all those data type which you have done in data structure and somewhere else. But also there are variables are restricted to certain area on your code. There's something they call it local variables. Again, we have done it before. Local variable when you declare it within your function, and it's used only within the function. And there are global variables that you can declare them to be everywhere. And in JavaScript, you can move also from string variable to number variable by using some mathematical, like multiply. The plus will not work, and minus, but if you multiply a string that contain numbers inside it, and with another string that contain numbers inside, or with the number even, it will automatically convert it to a number. So it's flexible on that. The global variables and local variables, we'll do more about them later when we do some exercises. We'll be using examples of variable that we use local and variable that global. It's a good practice to for safety of the data, for not overloading your computer memory, is to use those local variables more than global variables in your code. So people code do not mess up of data if everything is global. Functions we done. I think we created a function function that receive parameters. We did not create a function that return a value. We will do that with the exercises, very similar to what you have done in Java or you have done in C# or other languages. Will be same thing, and we'll be working on all those functions. And again, variables, now I just mentioned the global variables and local variables. Here this section in the book is talking about that. If you want to convert a variable from local, you declare it inside the function, and you want to make it global, you can use the word var, var. var will convert it, that will make that local variable which you declare within a function used by other functions. And instead of just going up somewhere and declare, you can declare it within a function. JavaScript came with this one to bring those flexibility, because it's not like a traditional language that starts from beginning of the code, and so it doesn't have object-oriented where you create a class with methods and properties or field. So it's somehow came with this idea to convert a local variable to global variable. We will do more with the variables when we start doing some more practice, and that practice will come soon in the next classes. Now what we want to do now is just using some variables. I declare a variable called A and variable called variable called B, and then I can pass those variables to the next one. I would like to do something is create a function that calculate the sum of two numbers. So I pass two numbers, I give the sum, and I want that function to display the result on the screen. Yeah, so I'll create something called calsum, whatever, and passing A and B, two numbers, to that one. Where the function should be created, the function need to be created in our library file, JavaScript. Should be A and B. Okay, so I'll go now to my CIA 2503.jc, and I will construct that function in that place. The function should be very basic. But because I want the result to come on the screen, on my HTML, I need to create a tag on the HTML that will place become the placeholder. Let's first create the function. So I create the function called sum, and it receives A and B. Then what it should do, it should create the sum of the two. So I'll say sum equal A plus B. Notice here sum is a local variable. It's used only within that function. If I want to use it somewhere else, it will not work because it's declared as a local variable. Let's come here and create that space holder or placeholder where we want the data to appear. So I'll use a P paragraph. I'll give it an ID. Let's call it results. Should be between quotations. As soon as you put a quotation, it creates for you two. You need to delete one. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Then continue. Now we'll say the results will appear here. Okay. Now, what I want to do, when the user click on this text, it shows the total of the numbers. Now, I think we did not save our functions as Saleh told me, but if you run this one and try to get it run, it will get nothing. But one thing here, because to allow you click on it and it call that function, you can add within the tag, first tag, you can add on click. We'll do it now. So we'll go inside this one, make space, and add on click. On click is an event that will happen when the user click on that page. So on click, what it will do, it will call sum, yeah, and we'll pass the parameter, say 5 and 8, okay, and close. Can say A and B, yeah, and close that. It will work, but I think if we now save this one and go and there's no need for that function there. So now the function will be called when you click on that text. So this is what they call it, the placeholder. You can have a div, you can have H paragraph, you can have a button, you can have a picture, anything, you can make it a placeholder for your results. So we're using just P here to be the placeholder. We give it the code, the ID results, yeah? So now if you click there, refresh, and click, nothing will work because one, we did not save our function, and the other thing, we did not say to the function to store the result in this placeholder. Remember, our function is just doing calculation, and that's it. It's not doing anything right. So we need to go to our function again now on the code, save it first, and then we need to add something to make it display the value of the sum into this place, and that's what we need to do. So let's use just symbol 5 and 8, and then we'll go back there to our code, and here what we need, as we said, we need to display the results on the screen. So to display a result on the screen using JavaScript, you can use document, which again, document refers to our whole HTML. Now, we need to use get element by ID. Now what we're saying here, in fact, that element which we're going now to get by ID, which that's the one. And what is the ID? The ID is results. That one should display the results. So how you say display? You can use inner HTML. Inner HTML method allow you, or property allow you to set up HTML code. So what we're saying now, the results tag which we have down, which has the ID results, it should display the outcome. So we're changing its HTML to the value of sum. And let's go and watch it. I think maybe this is too much at this level, but we'll be doing next week a lot of examples related to this. Let's save it now. Make sure we save it. Make sure you're using the right name of the ID, and then save it and go and refresh our page. And then if we click, we should get what? 13, which 5 plus 8 will be 13. Yeah, and that's how it should be working. So this line you will use a lot, but later we'll maybe create our own function to simplify this line. So instead of long line, we will see what we do. Now we refresh, click, see, you click, you get the data. Refresh, you click, the data comes. Yeah. So that placeholder can be somewhere on the page, and instead of refreshing the whole page, you just change the value of that placeholder. And that's how it works. Now if we go back to our function and change that back to our HTML, and instead of 5 and 8, we put A and B, we will be getting exactly the same results, because it will pass the A as 5 or whatever is that value of A, and B as it is, and then it will go and display the results. So let's make this A and B, and then save it. So we are done. So next time we will be doing more exercises in next class. I think our next class is on Tuesday, and we'll have some exercises to do together. We'll get you busy with creating tax calculators, grade converters, and many other things, and get you prepared to do some more fun with JavaScript. So I hope you are enjoying this class. Let's just refresh again and see, oh, it's there. Everything is good. Thank you.